Good morning, everyone. Happy New Year. Hoping everybody had a safe night last night and is only nursing a slight hangover today. Wanted to start with a little bit of sad news. 2020 had to kick us in the chops one more time before saying goodbye. Uh, if y'all know Mr. Howie over at Cedar Creek Homestead, he passed yesterday. I believe it was complications from COVID. So, you know, if y'all can, say an extra prayer for Howie. He's beginning his journey to Christ here. So, good, strong man. We'll miss Mr. Howie and his wisdom that he shared with us. But say an extra prayer for him and the whole family over there at Cedar Creek Homestead. So, sorry, didn't want to start that way today. All right. So as you all sit there in your PJs with a cup of coffee or Bloody Mary or cure what ails you here today, I thought I'd give you my 10 predictions for 2021. Now, I'm not Nostradamus, and I'm not going to tell you there are asteroids about to hit the Earth or a zombie apocalypse coming. Yeah, those are actual interpretations of a couple of Nostradamus' quatrains. Go figure. Okay. Nor am I going to paint some overly rosy picture like the mainstream media is doing. Okay. Don't believe me? Go look it up. I did. It's actually hilarious that places like the Washington Post and the Atlantic think 2021 is going to be a euphoric year. I guess they had too much Kool-Aid last night. Okay. However, my background is in finance. Okay. So that's going to be the bulk of what I want to talk about. After all, the economy is the number one issue for most everyone, including preppers, and so I thought it was worthwhile to discuss a bit of that here. Okay, I don't have a crystal ball, but it's going to be interesting to come back to this video a year from now and see how accurate I am. It's not gloom and doom, guys. Don't worry about that. That's not my style. So I'm not going to make your head hurt any more than it probably already does. I'm just going to give you the facts and my interpretation on what's going to happen because of them. Okay. So number one, the stock market. Okay? I mean, chances are people some way, somehow are invested, 401k, retirement plans, however, just personal investments, whatever it would be. I pretty much expect this to be a flat year for the Dow and the S&P, but I think the NASDAQ is going to lose ground. Okay. Why? Well, the NASDAQ, even though it's very tech heavy, still contains a lot of smaller companies. So it's going to struggle to stay above water as the small companies, not just the mom and pops, are going to close this year. If Biden is in fact inaugurated on January 20th, one of the first things he's promised to do is repeal the Trump tax cuts. That will be devastating for all the companies, large cap and small cap and mid cap, obviously. Because if he gets the corporate tax rate back to 35%, where it was in 2017 before the TCJA, companies see a 66% tax hike from the current 21%. Okay, I mean, that's a huge chunk. Now we all know people, average Joes like you and me, are struggling with bills. Raising prices isn't going to be an option for companies to cover this tax hike. So obviously profits are going to take a hit. And after all, that's what stock prices are based on, future earnings. So that being said, guys, I'm just my opinion, and it's going to somewhat disagree with Wall Street, but that's pretty normal. They're usually wrong anyway, is that you're not going to see these fabulous returns in 2020 as you have, or 2021 as you have in the last couple of years. All right. Unemployment, another big one that kind of hits all of us, including me at the moment. We're currently at 6.7% unemployment. But that's the number of people who are collecting benefits. We have plenty of people who their benefits have run out. Okay, so the real number, the U6 rate, which is the real number of people unemployed, is currently 12%. And I know people argue about it, but that's the number that's published. Okay, I actually expect this number to go up. All right. And the reason being is that a lot of jobs that disappeared in 2020 aren't coming back. All right. We moved to a remote workforce and a lot of online sales. That means jobs like salesperson, receptionist, waitress, cook, those aren't ever coming back. If you don't have a office space, you don't need a receptionist to greet customers. Okay. Just common sense. Then you also have the potential for restrictions due to COVID that are going to continue to destroy the travel and the hospitality industry. That means less hotel clerks and less maids, less flight attendants and less pilots. And these examples are just a drop in the bucket of all the industries that are affected. But notice what types of jobs are disappearing. The lower paying ones, okay? This is going to exacerbate the cries about income inequality, and you're probably going to hear the cries for the $15 minimum wage all over again, okay? Be ready for that. Of course, we all know all that's going to do is drive prices up, and people are going to be able to afford less anyway. So, but I'll try to explain that to AOC or the wonderful economist she is. All right. Number 3, inflation. Lots of talk about this on a lot of channels. All right. Now, please understand, a U.S. economy collapse is unlikely. A U.S. economic collapse would create global panic. We came damn close in 2008, don't get me wrong. Okay. If the economy did collapse, demand for the dollar and U.S. treasuries would plummet, interest rates would skyrocket, investors would rush to other currencies such as the yuan, the euro, and gold. We're already seeing some of that. Okay. It would create not just inflation, but hyperinflation as the dollar loses value to other currencies. Okay, common sense. That in turn would mean the failure of local municipal services. In other words, we'd have no electricity, we'd have no gasoline, we'd have no city water, no food. Look at Venezuela. It is possible. I'm just saying it's not probable. Okay. When necessary, the government can act quickly to avoid a total collapse. For example, the Federal Reserve can use its contractionary monetary tools to tame hyperinflation, or it can work with the Treasury to provide liquidity, as it did in 2008. We all know that one, okay? But remember this, the Fed's nearly out of bullets in its gun because interest rates are already near zero as is. Now, we've all seen food prices go up 10% plus in 2020. Don't expect that to slow down anytime soon. So as a prepper, these are your biggest concerns: food cost and food availabilities, as well as utility services. Okay, you have to be prepared for both of these above all else. These are the most possible, not probable, but possible things we're going to face in 2021. Okay. Number 4, taxes. Okay, expect taxes to go up. Period. End of story. The end. All right. Not just because of a Biden presidency and the potential of Democrats to hold both houses of Congress, but also because of all these stimulus projects or stimulus payments and the pork projects. Somehow that has to be paid for, okay? We've already heard ideas being floated around like a personal property tax, a carbon tax. There's the, I forget what they're calling it. Somehow taxes on ammunition and firearms, whatever. Taxes are going up, guys, okay? All of these are probably going to be enacted before 2021. Plus, like I said earlier, repealing the Trump tax cuts. So guess what? Income tax going up. Right now, like I said, with Biden repealing, or we're saying he's going to repeal the Trump's tax cuts, if he gets both houses under his wing, this is going to look like the 1970s all over again. And I know some of you guys aren't old enough to do it, and I was just a kid, okay? But go look what tax rates were in the 70s. And don't let the lie of only people making over $400,000 will see a tax rate. Okay. It's not going to happen. Unless they index the tax hike, it's eventually going to hit the middle class. You don't believe me, look up, what the alternative minimum tax is. A lot of people, you guys know what that is, okay? For an example, they didn't index it. It was supposed to be only on the rich. Guess what? Now every year they got to put a fix in. So, Joe Average, who's making $60,000, $70,000, isn't hit with AMT. Okay. All right. Number 5, housing and land purchases. Now, today, okay, January 1st, January 2nd, whenever you can, is the time to buy the house or the land you've been thinking about. Interest rates are likely to turn northward this year, and prices for land, homes, and materials, we all know the price of wood, are certainly going to go up. Okay, if you're thinking of moving out of a city or out to a rural area, it's best you look now. Okay, they're not making any more land. If home builders are swamped right now, which we've all seen that in the news, okay, that, home building is going like crazy. It's wintertime. This isn't usually when they're building homes. So if home builders are swamped now, imagine what it's going to be like in the spring and summer when the traditional time for building houses is going on. All right. You're gonna get a whole lot more equity and probably an increase in equity by the end of the year if you buy now. And right now, mortgages are cheaper than rent. Okay. It's also a good time to downsize if you can. That McMansion you have, do you really need it? Okay. Land is more valuable than this big fancy house. If you're going, okay, the kids are about grown, we can move, everything this sort like that. Now's the time to do it, because a year from now, house prices are going to go up, land prices are going to go up, interest rate prices are going to go up. And if everybody's already bought their house, good luck selling the one you got. Okay. So that being said, number 6, guns and ammo. Face it, guys, if you haven't got it by now, you're too late. Okay. Guns can still be had, but we aren't going to see ammo on the shelves for this year. And if you do, you're going to be paying through the nose for it. I mean, I think I mentioned it before, 9mm ammo is $1 a round. Literally now, like I said in another video, the days of the Wild West where a shot of whiskey, you trade 1 bullet for it, that's why it's called a shot. Now it's actually profitable to do it that way. If Biden goes in, they're going to do everything possible to limit firearm use. They may try to repeal the Second Amendment, but that's going to fall flat. Okay, we've talked about repealing amendments. It's practically impossible. But they already are talking about massive taxes on firearms and ammo. So if they can't make it illegal, they're going to try to price everybody out of the market till only the rich and famous can afford it. Gee, I wonder who that would be. Okay. Number 7, food. I've talked about this many times. Start learning to garden. You're not going to be successful with everything you try. Hell, I'm still not. I still have stuff that doesn't grow right. But you have to start learning sometime. There's no better time than now. If your income gets whacked or inflation eats up what you already have, as early projections are already calling for 3% inflation, and that's moderate. Usually we run around 2. So 50% increase in inflation already is what's projected. Then saving anywhere you can is going to be huge, right? You're going to need those bucks for your electric bill, for your mortgage, or whatever. The less you spend on food, the more you have to spend on something else. Seeds are cheap, and while it's a lot of work, the payoff is worth it. For what you pay for 2 pounds of potatoes, 2 pounds of tomatoes, you can grow enough tomatoes to can for your entire winter. Or for what you pay for 1 flat of green beans, 12 cans, you can grow a year's worth to can yourself. Food prices are going to continue to skyrocket, and gardening is your hedge against inflation on food. Okay. Now, if you can do animal husbandry and you can raise your own meat, hey, more power. I don't even want to think about buying beef right now, where beef prices are. So if you've got cows, you're probably sitting on a mini gold mine at the moment. Number 8, civil unrest. Expect to see a lot of it this year. No matter who's sworn in on January 20th, millions of people are going to be pissed. And the divide, not only politically, but also racially, is going to be the driving force of 2021. The mainstream media is going to be fanning the flames. And then when you add in opening the borders, if Biden's inaugurated, expect all hell to break loose. What we saw with George Floyd and Breonna Taylor will be nothing compared to this year. Cities, lots of them, are going to burn in 2021. Number 9, COVID. Okay, it ain't going away, folks. It's a crisis that's serving its purpose. When people start accepting it as the new normal, meaning, I got to wear a mask, social distancing or whatever, we're just going to see another new variant announced, okay? This will continue on and on and on to break the will of the people, all right? We're already seeing it. Oh, people are starting to get used to it. Let's just say there's a new variant out there and scare everybody all over again, okay? Remember, Agenda 2030 is still the plan, and we're 9 years away. They got plenty of time to cause more chaos. Don't expect lockdowns to end or mask mandates to end at all in 2021. What was supposed to be 2 weeks to flatten the curve has now been 10 months, and it's going to be soon. It's going to be 2 years to flatten the curve. Okay. We're already seeing the effectiveness, or the lack thereof, of the vaccine. And as more and more people refuse to take it, somehow the puppet masters are going to come up with something else to take over the world. Okay. Just that's a certainty. Number 10, war. This one's difficult. We're on the brink of something in the United States. We all know that. I'm actually more, we know that it's going to be either civil, revolutionary, or world. Okay. And I'm actually more concerned with the first two than I am with the third. The third may bring us all together against a common enemy, probably a new axis of evil, China, North Korea, and Iran. Okay. And believe it or not, that may actually be a good thing. The first two are scarier options because those are going to be urban. You wouldn't be able to go anywhere without being on high alert. I don't care how conservative or how liberal of an area you live in. One of your neighbors is on the other side, and if things get nasty, you know how that's going to go. Okay. No matter how you slice it, folks, 2021 does not look pretty. The media is trying to paint a rosy picture because they view Democrats as demigods and saviors. We all know that's never the case. We haven't had a successful Democrat in the White House since Harry Truman. God knows Biden Harris is about as incompetent as a ticket as you can get. Right? The best thing I can suggest to anyone is to make your New Year's resolution and do everything you can to accomplish it. Don't give up by February 1st. And I'm not talking about losing weight or quitting smoking or anything as mundane as that. Those are good things, don't get me wrong. I'm talking about the change to your life and your preparedness that you are committed to doing. Write it down, put it on the fridge so you have to look at it every day and then work at it. Okay. Depending on where you are in the prepping voyage, that may be getting a year's worth of food. That may be to buy a bug out location or moving to one. That may be to get medical or weapons training. That may be getting out of debt completely. Whatever it is, do everything you can to get yourself closer to being 100% self-sufficient. Mine is getting my house completely powered by solar. Expensive? Yes. Can I make cuts in other places to get it done? Yep. If you want something bad enough, you'll find a way to accomplish it. Most of the stuff above we have no control over, so the best thing we can do is prepare to be able to effectively react to it. Guys, by now we're getting a lot better at prepping. Very few of us are amateurs anymore. We've all learned so much during 2020, and now we can expand on that knowledge. No matter where you are in the journey, keep seeking out information and keep acting upon that info. You guys and other channels enlighten me. You teach me something new daily, and I keep taking actions because of it. I hope you all do the same. Keep up the fight, guys. You'll be happy you did when the balloon goes up. Happy New Year. Pinball out.